Hey there, it's Steve from Serious Keto, and in this video, I'm going to show you how I make a high-protein, low-carb pudding, or cheesecake, or mousse. Kind of depends on how you make it. A while back, I received a comment from one of my viewers, Terri B. That's not my wife. My wife would be Terri C. But in the comment, Terri told me that she makes a protein pudding using Keto Chow and cottage cheese as the primary ingredients. Now, she made it with 1.5 cups of cottage cheese and got sort of a pudding texture that she says also works great in the Ninja Creamy if you want to make ice cream. In this video, I used just 1 cup of cottage cheese because I was aiming for a little bit of a different texture. I really wanted to get sort of a cheesecakey sort of a texture for possible future recipes. But I'll talk more about recipe variations after I show you how I made mine. I'm going to start with cottage cheese. I've got the full-fat Daisy cottage cheese, 1 cup or 220 grams. You can use a mini food processor like this, or if you want, you could use something like a NutriBullet or a blender. Then I've got 1/3 cup of milk or water, that is 80 ml. I'm using the Carbmaster brand. And then 1 serving of protein powder, which is generally around 45 grams. I've tried using the Quest protein powder, and that worked, but the flavor was a little funny to me. So instead, I'm going to use the Raspberry Keto Chow or Raspberry Cheesecake Keto Chow. Pop on my cap here. And then I'm going to blend this until it becomes nice and smooth, stirring down the sides as necessary. I don't want any clumps of cottage cheese. When I'm done, it should be really smooth. I would say about the consistency of a soft serve ice cream. I'm going to place this into a few bowls. And then I'm going to pop these into the fridge to let them firm up. After a night in the fridge, Courtney and I gave them a taste test.
So here it is. I'm not even going to tell Courtney what it is yet. I'm just going to let her taste it and see what she thinks.
It's like cheesecakey. Cheesecakey. Blueberry Keto Chow cheesecake.
Raspberry.
Raspberry. Okay.
It's the raspberry cheesecake Keto Chow flavor.
Made into cheesecake.
More or less. The texture, I find, kind of reminds me more of like the Jell-O pudding brand of cheesecake, rather than like a New York style cheesecake.
Probably.
It's not as dense. It's a little fluffier.
It is fluffier, but it is cheesecakey. And I guess it does taste berry. Hard to distinguish what berry. I had blueberry like in my mind.
Okay,
So,
but
it's good.
Always swap spots.
Okay.
Oh yeah, this thickens up real nice. I had some of this right after I made it. And the thing with Keto Chow, I find, is it's always better after a night in the fridge or even a day or two. Not quite as sweet. There is some taste to it that isn't sweet. I think it might be some of the daily minerals that are in this. It does have a little bit of saltiness to it. And then I'm not sure what else I'm picking up, but it is sort of a mineral taste. You want to say something?
Yeah. I think that's just what keto, like it just has that Keto Chow taste to it. To me, I think every Keto Chow has that little, I don't know what it is. Haven't ever tasted it before, but it's Keto Chow.
Well, what I'm going to do right now is make a couple of sort of pudding pies. One with the raspberry and one with chocolate. For the pudding pockets, I am using the La Banderita snack size taco shells. I think these are 2 net carbs, minimal impact on my blood glucose in the testing that I've done. I'm going to use about 3 tablespoons of the pudding. That's roughly 50 grams. Then I'm going to brush the edges of the tortilla with a little beaten egg and squeeze this together really nice and tight. I will include a link to this empanada maker down in the description below. And there's my first pudding pie. I'm going to replicate the same process, this time using the chocolate Keto Chow, then pop them into the basket of my air fryer and brush the tops with some more of that egg wash. Into my air fryer, I'm going to air fry these at 380 degrees Fahrenheit or 190 Celsius for 6 to 8 minutes. At the halfway point, I'm going to flip these over and apply a little egg wash to the other side. You'll need to experiment with the timing. I found that at 8 minutes, these do kind of leak a little bit, and 6 minutes seems to be the sweet spot, at least on my air fryer. I let the pudding pockets refrigerate overnight, and then we all tried them out. All right, let's slice these up and give them a taste. First we have the raspberry. You can see the thickness on that. Kind of reminds me of about the thickness of Kringle. Here's the chocolate.
All right, taste test time. Which one did you just grab?
Chocolate.
Chocolate? Okay. Take a bite. Tell me what you think.
It's like a thumbs up, but it's like kind of textures like a little bit chocolatey.
It's thumbs up, and I heard chocolatey. What was the other thing? You were still kind of chewing.
So the most chocolate part was the inside.
Okay, yeah, that's the way they work. Did you want to try the raspberry one, or should we let Courtney try the chocolate one first?
I'll try this raspberry.
Okay, so that's raspberry cheesecake.
It's like good, but the most part of the raspberry is inside.
Okay. Well, we'll see what Courtney thinks.
Okay, chocolate.
There's a lot of chewing for pudding.
Good, but it's like a cheesecake and I had to chew the bread.
Okay.
So yeah, cheesecake.
Chocolate cheesecake?
Chocolate cheesecake.
All right. Now, I don't know if you recall when we had that as pudding. Mm-hmm. But I want your honest take on the difference between the two, between the chocolate and the raspberry in terms of overall flavor.
Definitely get a lot more raspberry flavor from the raspberry than I get chocolate from the chocolate flavor.
Okay.
Like it's not very strong chocolatey, but
okay.
It's a good snack.
All right.
Good little dessert.
All right, well, I'm going to flip around and I'm going to try it because I want to make sure. Cool, you're just continuing to eat that raspberry one, huh? Mm-hmm. I guess you like it then, huh? Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll try this chunk that you guys both bit out of. I like it. I wish that the tortilla had more of a crispiness to it. I kind of think about the old Hostess pudding pies, and those had a sort of a flakier pie crust. But the chocolate taste is really good. I like it. Courtney, you're definitely right about the raspberry flavor. It's more intense. It's a stronger raspberry flavor than the chocolate is a chocolate flavor. I'm also not picking up that same sort of minerality that I tasted when I had this as pudding. So that's a bonus there. On the whole, I would say this is a win.
One of the things that I've discovered in my limited trials with this recipe is you can go with more cottage cheese and get more of a pudding texture. In terms of getting into a mousse sort of a texture, it really kind of depends on the brand and type of protein that you use. I think that the gums that are in Keto Chow lend itself to creating more of that thicker cheesecakey texture. I also found that the Quest protein powder yielded a pretty thick sort of cheesecakey texture as well. When I use this stuff, which I just picked up at the grocery store, I don't know if it's any good in terms of a brand or not, I found that the texture was a lot more fluffy, a lot more pudding-like, maybe even close to a mousse, especially if you make it with a cup and a half of cottage cheese. The taste on this, though, not so great. And now it's time for the crowdsourcing portion of this video. I will create a pinned comment, the pinned first comment down below. If you try out this recipe and use any sort of a Keto Chow flavor or protein powder, let me know down below in a response to that pinned comment what brand you used, what flavor you used, how much cottage cheese you used, and how did it turn out? I will also include down in the description below the macronutrient information for the version that I made. I'm not going to create a printable recipe card on this, A, because it's pretty straightforward, and B, the macronutrients are going to vary depending on what brand of protein powder you use, how much cottage cheese you use, do you use milk, do you use water, and so on. So you can use my macronutrients as a starting point, adjust yours from there. But that is going to be it for this video. I hope you found it interesting, or perhaps helpful. If you did, please click that like button. If you're not a subscriber already, tap that subscribe button, then hit the bell to turn on all notifications. And if you'd like to help out the channel a little bit financially and get some perks in return, click that join button and see what channel memberships are all about. Thanks for watching.